A local NBC reporter is saying Steve Gonsalves has told NBC News. Steve Gonsalves has told NBC News, and this has been the mystery we've all been wondering about. Why did the two roommates in the morning call the police about an unconscious person when there was apparently a bloodbath in their home? And this is what we are learning, that Steve Gonsalves may have told this NBC News outlet, that you've got to remember these two girls were so upset that when they went outside after seeing this, it wasn't very legible. They couldn't quite understand what the girls were seeing. He's referring to the 911 operator trying to make sense of what these two girls are saying over the phone, but he's saying that they ran outside having seen something horrible. And then he goes on to say one passed out and the other one was hyperventilating, that the message wasn't clear enough for the operator. This makes a lot more sense, that maybe those girls did see part of or some of the bloodbath in the morning and tried to call and could not get the message out to the operator. And one of them was hyperventilating and the other is passing out. And then they just say, hey, we got an unconscious person. We got an unconscious person there. I want to bring in Mark O'Mara. He's a criminal defense attorney and civil rights attorney as well. This, Mark, has been a missing piece for a long time. And I mean, it certainly helps us to understand the mystery of the morning, but there's still a lot of holes. And I just want to get your thoughts on that for starters. And then I'm going to ask you all about the defense.
Yeah, there's so much intrigue in this 6 or 8 hours that nobody called anybody. Perhaps there was something that we don't know about yet. Perhaps they were drinking, or not to impugn their integrity, but were they intoxicated on drugs or alcohol or something? That makes a lot more sense than this woman sees this attacker, or at least a stranger, in her house with a mask on, drives or walks by, and she does nothing for the better part of 6 or 8 hours. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. And quite honestly, may well be fodder for the defense, because defense attorneys just look for anything to suggest an inexplicable event, and that's reasonable doubt.
So what about the notion that Kohberger matched one of these roommates, DM? We know it's Dylan because we've been talking about these surviving roommates for quite some time. Dylan said that he had bushy eyebrows. She saw bushy eyebrows. That's manna from heaven. That's manna from heaven for prosecutors to have a witness actually give that kind of detail about a face. Not just, he was 6'2" or 5'10" and a light build. It's bushy eyebrows.
No question that is going to be one of the sort of star pieces of evidence of a prosecution's case. The witness on scene can identify at least 3 or 4 or 5 different characteristics of this person. Again, this is an extraordinarily strong case of forensic tying together a noose, if you will, around Kohberger's neck already. And we've only seen 17 pages. Before we're done, Ashley, there's going to be tens of thousands of pages of discovery on this case.
It's true. Okay, I got to ask you about cell phone pings, because we've been, making huge hay about cell phone pings literally have a roadmap, to Brian Kohberger. But there was one line in the affidavit that I thought, I know Mark O'Mara is going to seize on that, and every defense attorney out there will seize on it. It said that his cell phone pings in Moscow, November 14th. That's the day after. That's Monday after the murders. But investigators, quote, do not believe the phone was in Moscow on that date. Well, then why should anybody believe the phone was in Moscow on any of the other days? Is that what a defense attorney will say in this case?
Absolutely. It's that one little string that you want to pull on, that seed of doubt that may grow into reasonable doubt. In and of itself, maybe not enough, but we don't know what she's doing for 8 hours. Now we know the phone wasn't there. Now we know why wasn't she saying anything. Now we know that 100 people have left DNA. Why his? There's so much more information that needs to come out. But I will tell you, if the next couple of 3 or 4 months are as good an investigative technique as the last couple of months to get us to this point, they've done quite a good job. And of course, with FBI assistance, I must say, the best law enforcement agencies in the world, they're going to tie down every loose end on this one.
Do they ever? Because just that timeline that we're looking at on the screen right now, it's got a 2-hour hole in the cell phone, right? Police say that's just when he turned it off because he didn't want to be pinged there. But he's leaving Pullman, and then he disappears, and then he's coming back to Pullman before and after the murders. And is that doubt, or is that reasonable doubt, or is that Nope. Nope.
Well,
It depends on what the jury thinks, if it's reasonable or not.
that makes no sense. That makes no sense.
November 12th. And I think you hit, and I didn't even think of that perspective, but they did everything right.
Yeah.
And we discussed that, the buddy system. Explain all the things that they did.
Yeah, they Ubered out together. They only went to known locations that they had been before.
Private driver.
They had a private driver. Yeah, I apologize. It was a private driver.
November 12th. And I think you hit, and I didn't even think of that perspective, but they did everything right.
Yeah.
And we discussed that, the buddy system. Explain all the things that they did.
Yeah, they Ubered out together. They only went to known locations that they had been before.
Private driver.
They had a private driver. Yeah, I apologize. It was a private driver that they had actually used before, so they knew him. They had a relationship with this
We knew him
individual.
as a family member, and he really helped us.
Yeah.
He turned us on to food truck stuff.
Yeah.
He's a great person.
Good people, and then only went to like known locations with known people, traveled only together on well-lit, known streets to get food before taking a private ride from the same individual who would pick them up. Same individual who would pick them up home. Home to go eat after a night of drinking, being 21, Ubering out, Ubering home with your friend.
They were totally chaperoned.
And then going to bed.
They were doing everything the way that you tell your kid to go. You know, you don't be two girls all by yourself. Have somebody there that can walk with you. Everything was perfect. Everything was good.
Yeah.
All the way up to where they went to bed and went to sleep.
Yeah.
And that I can't control. As a family, we can't control what happens when you go to sleep.
Yeah.
When you go to sleep, that's us as society. We have to determine, are we going to let these people be out here that can do whatever they did, sneak into a house, whatever it was? Are we going to allow that to be normal? Are we going to allow that to be okay?
Yeah.
Because we all go to bed at night.
Yeah, what was their flaw? They didn't have a nanny cam in their home? What could they have done to be more
They
safe?
didn't lock the door perfectly.
Yeah. You know that it's Moscow. I know it's safe.
I wonder about the doors because Kaylee was a door locker. She come
totally
here,
was.
and so I question that all the time. Like, why wasn't the door locked? Why wasn't the door locked?
But that's not what society's built on. You don't say, oh, well, you didn't lock the door, so you deserve to die in your sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't do that. We have to make a society where these people show red flags, we identify them, we address them, and then we remove them from hurting other people.
The phone call the Gonzalez family received on November 13th is one they'll never forget.
We were it was Sunday around
We're watching football.
1-ish, and we were
Like
watching
every
football.
family, or a lot of families on Sunday.
And
We're
then
watching
our
football.
son was here. Sunday around
We're watching football.
1-ish, and we were
Like
watching
every
football.
family, or a lot of families on Sunday.
And
We're
then our
watching
son was here. Sunday around
We're watching football.
1-ish, and we were
Like
watching
every
football.
family, or a lot of families on Sunday.
And
We're
then
watching
our
football.
son was here. Everybody was home except for she was down at her home
We
in LA.
gather.
And my niece called me and she was freaking out and she said, "Christine, have you talked to Kaylee?" And I said, "Yesterday, like last night." And she said, "Something bad happened. Something bad happened." She was just bawling. And I said, "Well, what do you mean? What do you mean?" And she said, "I think Kaylee's dead." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And she
All our
said,
stuff stomach's just dropped.
She said there was somebody just called me and they live down there. She said there was a party last night and Kaylee, somebody went in and shot the party up in Kaylee's shop. And I was like, what? And I just threw my phone. I started screaming, I started telling everybody to call Olivia and to get all her roommates on the phone. And I started calling Maddie, and Maddie wouldn't answer, and Maddie wouldn't answer. We said, no, this can't be, because Maddie would have called me. If Kaylee was shot last night at a party, Maddie or Jack would have called me. Like, no, and I kept calling. I called Kaylee and it went straight to voicemail. Like, no, and I kept calling. I called Kaylee and it went straight to voicemail. I was calling Maddie, I was calling Jack, it was ringing. I turned on the TV. And I saw 1122 Road, and Kaylee's car was in the driveway, Maddie's car was in the driveway, but it was saying an unconscious person. And we're saying, okay, maybe this isn't, like, maybe something happened. So Steve starts calling the police. Steven, our son, started to call the hospital, and he started calling the PD and saying, my name is Gonzalez, and we heard that my daughter Kaylee Gonzalez was killed in an accident. And they said, oh, we can't give you any information, we'll call you back. Well, next thing you know, some more phones started ringing out. Daughters that came running down. Well, next thing you know, some more phones started ringing out. Daughters that came running down, 16 and 17 years old, came and said, Mom, somebody just called me and said that Kaylee's dead. And we're like, what? Like, who was it? She's like, I don't know, it was somebody that said that they're there and Kaylee's dead. And we were like, oh my God, like, this can't be, and it's just very, very dramatic.
These protocols of somebody showing up at your door 10 hours later is ridiculous.
Because we had hours of panic before it shared.
It was terrible.
It was about 4:30 and I. So you guys,
they never called you. You guys found this out from family members that were in the area, and you guys didn't get notified. You actually reached out to them, and you guys still didn't get notified for hours.
I'm calling them twice.
And I get it. Their protocols are all about, maybe they'll commit suicide or something, but they have to be updated because social media moves so fast, so quick. That's why we are using social media. I'm not using the most common channels.
We called Karen and we asked Karen if she had heard anything, and she was, yes, I was told that there was an accident.
Good.
We thought maybe Maddie was the unconscious person, and we had already been told by several people, like 100% Kaylee was dead. And we were like, she's in their ball.
We were just hoping Maddie was just unconscious.
And then we're like, but Karen got a call saying to come down there. We haven't got a call.
I thought that was a good sign.
So we're like, well. And I kept giving them hope. I kept saying, if it happened last night, you guys would know by now. I kept giving them hope. I said, they just released an article that the roommates are being questioned right now. They probably took their phones, Mom. Like, I just kept giving them hope because I live in Los Angeles. It wasn't here. And that's all I could do. But it's just this feeling in your gut that I just sat with.
I knew as soon as my niece, as soon as Sabrina called, I knew that it was real.
Yeah.
And she was freaking out.
And then a cop showed up around 4:30.
And she was freaking out.
And then a cop showed up around 4:30.
Yeah, the sheriff came around 4:30, and then he told us that there were 4 victims, and we said, is one of them Maddie Morgan? And he told us yes. And we realized that it was Kaylee and Maddie.
We still knew she was going down there, and I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, Karen was still on her way, and
She's still driving. she got down there, and she got there about 20 minutes after we got the news. And
Another person who was broken by the news of Kaylee's passing is her ex-boyfriend, Jack Decor.
Yesterday afternoon asking for more information. We are not getting a ton of information from the new autopsy report that was just released here in the last hour. However, there has been a lot of activity at the crime scene itself today. For more on that, we are turning straight to our Amanda Rowley live in Moscow. And Amanda, what have you seen there today?
Well, Whitney, at this hour, this crime scene still remains active, and it's Idaho State Police forensics team that are on site here. I've seen several people coming and going inside and out of the house, carrying boxes, wearing gloves. At one point, I believe I even saw a couple flashes believed to be from a camera coming from the windows inside the house. In fact, this afternoon, I did notice the back sliding door to the house was opened at one point today. We could see red markings stuck to the frame of the door. Now, Idaho State Police spokesperson Aaron Snell told me this afternoon it was believed that the potential suspect came through the sliding glass door. But again, there appeared to be no signs of forced entry. Now, Idaho State Police spokesperson Aaron Snell told me this afternoon it was believed that the potential suspect came through the sliding glass door. But again, there appeared to be no signs of forced entry. Now, he explained to me just a few hours ago what ISP's forensic team is working on at the scene right now.
They're just kind of reassessing the house. They're going through it. They're looking for any potential additional evidence. They're collecting it. They'll take additional photos. I mean, they're kind of going over it. It's a large crime scene, and not that anything in particular was missed. However, it's always good to have another set of eyes go over things, especially of a crime of this magnitude.
Now, we also confirmed today the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit is also assisting with the case. They do a variety of things, including crime analysis, create profiles of unknown offenders, offer investigative suggestions, and help with interview strategies. Now, ISP is also expecting an FBI command vehicle to arrive in Moscow to provide more workspace and additional resources for the investigation. Now, at this time, ISP says the roommates who were at the home during the attack but were not injured are in fact cooperating with investigators, and right now they are not considered suspects or persons of interest, but ISP says they have not ruled anyone out. Tonight, Snell is insisting that no one has been cleared from this investigation. Reporting in Moscow, Amanda Rowley, Crime 2 News.
That makes no sense. That makes no sense.
Dylan said that he had bushy eyebrows. She saw bushy eyebrows. That's manna from heaven.
That makes no sense.